Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for being here. I'm excited to share this video with you. It's a little bit different. I've never done this before, but I'm gonna be sharing about the best books from each month that I read this year and then the worst books. So like one book for each though, if that makes sense. So 2 books per month, the best one and the worst one that I read in that month. Get it? Yeah, and I thought of this idea actually because I've been saving like different Bookmas ideas over the years, and Haley in Bookland, when she used to do her Bookmas, did she call it? Yeah, she called it Bookmas. She has so many cool ideas, and so I saved this one from her. So I'll link her video down below. That's where I got this idea from, and I'm excited to share these books with you. Some of the months were super easy to do, and some were so hard because I either had like multiple favorites in that month or multiple not so favorites in the month. So I'm really curious to share this with you. I have already picked all the books for each month, and I'm not gonna like go through my wrap-ups or anything. So if you want to watch my wrap-ups, you can. I have a whole playlist for all of my reading wrap-ups, and I think they're in order. So you should be able to like, well, they're from whatever. Okay. I'll leave the playlist down below. But okay, I'm going to start with January, and then we'll go to December. And yeah, hopefully, I don't know, this will just be interesting. Like, yeah, again, some months were really easy to do and some were not. So here we go. Okay, in January, it was hard. I read 2 5-stars in January, and I decided to pick Defend the Dawn by Brigid Kemmerer. Something about this book just really stands out to me. I loved it when I read it. It was such a quick read. I was so engrossed in the story. I loved everything about it. This is a great like young adult fantasy book, but the trilogy itself, like I wouldn't recommend on my channel just because there is a relationship that shows up in the 3rd book that is definitely like not something I would recommend. So, you know, but this 2nd book though, like so good, and it ends on a cliffhanger. Like I just think that everything about this book was so good. So this is definitely the best book that I read in January. But then the worst book that I read in January is Drowning by TJ Newman. I've already talked about this book in my most disappointing books of the year / worst books of the year video, so I'll link that down below. But yeah, this is a thriller. She's a really popular author. A lot of people like her like airplane thrillers, and I thought I was going to be one of them, but there was just so much language in this book, and then it jumped perspectives a lot, and I just didn't feel connected to the story or the characters, and just because of the language too, I was like, I just don't care. There's better out there. So yeah, that was the worst in January. February, this was hard. There were 2 books that were so good, and I don't even know, like I feel like they're tied for like best of the year almost too. But I'm gonna pick Unknown Threat by Lynn H. Blackburn because I loved this book, and it is good. Okay, it's romantic suspense, but the romance in it is so good. It's some of the best romance in romantic suspense I've ever read, to be honest. Like, just saying. So yeah, that is definitely the best book, and you'll see that pop up later in other videos too. But then the worst book, similar to Drowning, It's the Only One Left by Riley Sager. This was in the same video as Drowning, and I also talked about this, my worst and most disappointing books of the year, because I just like didn't like any of the twists in it. It felt like, I don't know, just I didn't like the characters. I didn't like the story. It wasn't for me. So that's the worst one in February. Okay, March was difficult because I didn't read any like amazing 5-star books in March. And the book that I picked as best is kind of funny because I picked Under Fire by Lynn H. Blackburn. This is the 3rd book in the trilogy, and it's my least favorite in the trilogy, but I still gave it 4 stars, and out of all of the books that I read in March, it's still the best one. But it definitely, like, Under Fire drove me nuts. I was like, what is this? So yeah, but it's still the best one, which is sad to say. And then the worst book is A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber. This is the 3rd book in the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. And yeah, this one was a letdown. I just found it so boring, like it dragged on. I didn't like the romance. This trilogy just isn't for me. I didn't connect to it. I didn't like the writing style or the characters, to be honest. So yeah, there's March. Okay, April, I have one to hold up. The best book I read in April is The Roads We Follow by Nicole Deese. This book is so good. It's so good. The romance though, you already know. Yeah, for sure. I was so pleasantly surprised by this book. Like, I couldn't believe it. So yeah, definitely my favorite of April. Then the worst one, this was also in a video, Brynn and Sebastian Hate Each Other by Bethany Turner. I do not like this book. This is probably my least favorite book of the whole year. Just gonna say that, because I actually like read the whole thing. I did not like this book. The romance was dumb. Didn't like the characters, and I just don't like this author's books. No more Bethany Turner for me. Okay, May. May was hard too, but the best book I read in May is Beneath the Surface by Lynn H. Blackburn. As you can see, I discovered Lynn H. Blackburn this year, and I love her books. New favorite author. Beneath the Surface is the start of a new trilogy, and I don't own it, but this is the second book in Too Deep, so it's Dive Team Investigations. Dive Team Investigations is the trilogy that Beneath the Surface is a part of. And then I don't own, or oh, okay, whatever. Okay, the worst book in May is called Complete by Kortney Keisel. This book, it was just so long. It's like one of those clean rom-coms, but it was so long, and the relationship is so dragged out. Like, we got a play-by-play, year-by-year of what was going on with them, but like, it was such a slow burn, but like each year felt like, why did you just show me that? Like, just get on with it. Like, it was just boring to me. I didn't like the way that the story was told, and yeah, I mean, yeah, it wasn't for me, so I'll just say that. Okay, June. Lynn H. Blackburn is just like dominating the charts right now. So the best book that I read is One Final Breath by Lynn H. Blackburn, which is the third book to this trilogy, and yes. So One Final Breath, so great. Loved the wrap up. I love her books. Okay. And then the worst book that I read in June is The Rom-Commers by Katherine Center. What a letdown. Okay. This is her worst book. I mean, the worst that I've ever read. Like, the romance was super lacking. Like, it was not cute. I was not into it for sure. So don't really recommend that book. I don't remember. It was clean, but there was like a seducing scene, which wasn't great. And then there was like a little bit of language, I think, but like, it's just like the actual romance and the characters, it was just like not well written in my opinion. Like, was that even Katherine Center? I don't know. Okay, July was so hard. I read so many good books in July. How am I supposed to pick? But I did pick, and my favorite, or the best book that I read in July is Never Fall Again by Lynn H. Blackburn. As you can tell, I love her books. Like, I read her to zero this year. I literally did, and no regrets. Like, I love her books. So there you go. Go me. And then the worst book I read in July is Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross, because I gave it 3 stars. It was fine, but for the amount of hype that this duology gets, like, I do not see the hype. I'm so surprised so many people like these books. The second book was a war book, but so was the first book. Like, they're about war with a little bit of romance, with some magic, with like a god in it, and I'm like, no, not interested. So yeah, I mean, but 3 stars. It wasn't terrible, but wasn't my favorite. Okay, August. August was hard too, but the best book I read in August is Beyond Ivy Walls by Rachel Fordham. As you can tell, she's the best. I love her books as well. So yes, definitely the best book that I read in August. And then the worst book is Pumpkin Spice and Everything Nice. Don't even remember the author, but this is like a young adult, like fallish book romance. But the girl character, the main character, she was a little brat. She was rude. She like complained all the time to her friends, and she was like mean to the guy, and the guy just like liked her, and I don't know. I was like, what is this? It was not enjoyable. So don't recommend, actually. What are you doing to me out there?
Sorry, I'm doing laundry.
Okay. Okay, September. September was a good month too. Best book I read in September is The Lost Library by Melissa Koslin. Oh, I love this author as well. So good. So this is her latest release. It was so good. I love her writing style so much. I wish she could write books like all the time, every year, forever, because I love her writing style so much. So yeah, this is romantic suspense, and I just thought it was really well done. It's on Kindle Unlimited, I'm pretty sure. Okay, you know, why don't we just check right now? Because yeah, I'm pretty sure this was self-published, but let me see. Never Misses on Kindle Unlimited. Nice. Oh, I can't really tell if it is because I own it. Okay, well, never mind. I can't tell if it is because I bought it and it is in my app, so I don't know but whatever. Either way, it is great. Highly recommend this book. I was like, yes, easy 5 stars. Okay, the worst book that I read in September is Her Cowboy Billionaire Best Friend by Liz Isaacson. What did I say was the worst book? Oh, okay. You know what? No, this one takes the cake. Does it though? You know what? No. Okay, so I did say that Brynn and Sebastian Hate Each Other is the worst book that I read this year, but it might be this book. Those 2 books are tied, okay? But I would probably, I think I would read this book over the Brynn and Sebastian one though, to be honest. So, only because this one's shorter. So yeah, did not like this book. You already know. Yeah. Okay, October. The best book that I read in October is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This was 4 stars, so I didn't have any 5 stars in October, but I did really like this book, and I read the second book too and gave that 4 stars. So yeah, that was the start of me reading this trilogy, and I enjoyed myself. I really did. I thought it was well done. I liked the story, and yeah, this is the best book I read in October. And then the worst book is Not the Billionaire. Oh yeah, okay. So this, okay, Not the Billionaire by Krista and Noorman. This book is a like clean Christian romance, and I got it free somehow. I think when we were like, Kindle was doing like the Stuff Your Kindle Day or something, I got it free, and I'm like, oh, a Christian romance, that's cool. What made it worse was the fact that they were Christians because of their behavior. Like, it's about this billionaire guy who pretends not to be the billionaire guy so that he can be with the girl and see if he can trust her, but he does that, so he's lying to her to see if he can trust her, so now she can't trust him. You know, logic was not there. Didn't like it, and it went on way too long, and I mean, his whole family went along with it, and I just was like, no, not cute. So yeah. Okay, November was a good month, surprisingly, for reads. So the best book that I read in November is Wedding at Sea by Melissa Teague. I loved this book. Absolutely loved it. Wow. And for sure, like this whole trilogy, I technically read the whole trilogy this year. Like I reread the first book and then read the other 2. And like I read A Seaside Wonder in November and then also Wedding at Sea. But like Wedding at Sea though, I think just because it's the wrap up and like everything came together, it was just so good. It was so well done. So yeah, this is definitely the best book that I read in November. And then the worst book is These Hollow Vows by Lexi Ryan. I gave it 3 stars. It was just like a typical fairy young adult story, but I found it kind of boring and slow, and then it was definitely like focused on the romance, and it was just very like sexualized, and I wasn't into that. So yeah, that is the worst book. And then December, we're still in December, so as of now, let me go to what I've read so far. I could talk about it. Okay, so far, the best book that I've read in December is Cabin Crush by Casey Stockton. Really enjoyed it. It is in a vlog that I just put up, so I will link that vlog down below where I'm reading romance from Kindle Unlimited, Christmas romance. And then in that same video, Merry Xmas is the worst book because I DNF'd it. And hopefully this is the worst book of the month because I don't want to DNF anything else. So yeah. Ugh. Watch the video if you want to see real thoughts, but yeah, that's really too bad. But there we go. I did kind of go through this fast, but this does not replace my favorites of the year video. I will for sure still be talking about every single book that is a favorite from the year, because there's more that you didn't see in this video because there were like multiple faves in one month, so I couldn't I try not to double up. So 1 book per month, and I did it. So there you go. So hopefully this was entertaining. I'd be really curious to see other booktubers do this, just because like it's kind of a nice overview to see what your months were like this year, and yeah, your best book and your worst book from each month. I just think it'd be interesting. And thank you to Haley in Bookland for the video idea, but I think she did this video like 2 or 3 years ago, so it's not new. But yeah, I had saved it because I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. And now I'm finally doing it. So here we go. So thank you so much for watching, you guys. I'll write all of the books down below. Yeah, thank you so much for watching, you guys. I hope this was entertaining. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.